Yo everyone, Skeptic here. Today, I wanted to talk about an upcoming MOBA called Fangs. I heard about this MOBA a while ago when I was streaming Battlerite and someone in my chat mentioned the game. And so, being curious, I looked it up on Google, and what I found just didn't interest me at the time. But recently, a YouTuber did an interview with a game developer, and it kind of sparked my interest in Fangs again. And lucky enough for us, at the time of this recording, 10 days ago, Fangs has made a new video covering a development update for November 2022. If you want to watch the video without my commentary, I'll put a link to the video in the description below. So without further ado, let's watch this update together.
Hey, I'm David. I'm the executive producer of Fangs. When Bao and I first started working on this game, we had been friends for a long time and we play games every night. And for some of these games, it started to get a little bit frustrating. We just really wanted to get to the end game state where it was all about exciting, big macro gameplay decisions with a lot of micro intensities, such as should we be going for this objective? How should we be splitting up the team? And so we started building games where it's all about team management of, hey, should I be going for this objective, pushing the Phoenix, or should I be trying to capture the relic at this time? Should I be backing up my team to try to get the captain kill, or should I, as the captain, try to be running away or defending the Phoenix while they try to get the relic? And so we're trying to build a game where, every decision matters, every micro decision, every macro decision, and we're really trying to get a game where you get into the action faster.
As someone who used to play a lot of League of Legends, I actually agree with his statement in that I definitely find the end game of a match to be way more exciting because your characters are all leveled up, your skills are a lot stronger now, you have items. Each micro and macro decision is very intense because it can be the deciding factor for whether or not you win or lose the game, and it kind of adds to the excitement. So I definitely agree with his statement.
When we set out to design Fangs, we wanted to take the fun team fighting portions of MOBAs and distill the game down to doing mostly that, and finding ways to have interesting objectives and characters that sort of mix up what they do in really interesting and strategic and tactical ways. One system that allows us to keep the game short and allows you to jump in and customize your character while still preserving kind of the tactical and strategic depth is the augment system. And these have a wide range of uses. You can use them to sort of cover your weaknesses, fill in needed gaps in your team composition. Some of the augments change up the abilities in pretty big ways, almost completely changing the way they work. So with everything being a skill shot.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit to the augment system or mechanic here that Fangs is presenting. And I feel like this augment system can be either really good or kind of meh in a sense. So what I mean by this is that if they have a lot of augmentations and a lot of customization, it can add so much creative freedom for player expression and creating various play styles. But if there's not a lot of augments, it can make the gameplay feel more limiting, and it'll be easier to find a meta build where everyone just builds this particular augment and everyone will run with it. So I feel like this augment system, if done correctly, can be really good, but if it's limiting and there's not a lot of it, I feel like it can harm the game.
the abilities in pretty big ways, almost completely changing the way they work. So with everything being a skill shot and no direct economy.
Oh, this is interesting. Everything becoming a skill shot. You are either really happy about this or you're not as enthusiastic, because now it kind of raises that skill floor. Because some characters in League of Legends, you can still point and click abilities. But in Fangs, they are emphasizing that everything is a skill shot. So you're not just going to point and click, boom, skill is going to be activated and it hits your opponent immediately. You have to really practice your execution, and you have to alter your movement patterns, and you have to basically have to get good, if I'm gonna be honest. So for me as a competitive person, I feel like it won't be too much of a barrier of entry to me, but for a casual player, I can see why they would kind of frown upon this.
You're not going to get snowballed on. Even if you're down 2-0, the game is still very winnable if your team is able to just turn it around and figure out what they need to do differently in order to start winning the rounds. So having no direct economy and making it so either your team or the opposing team doesn't snowball as much is a good thing. But at the same time, if you're winning by, like, I don't know, let's just say by 75%, and the enemy team is just like really far behind, but they still have a chance to win, I don't know about that competitive integrity, because it's kind of like you're adding a comeback factor, but not really in a sense. Basically, I feel kind of uneasy about this statement, because I do agree that you shouldn't be able to snowball a match so far ahead of the enemy team that they can never catch up. But at the same time, I wouldn't want it so that even if you have a substantial lead, it's basically a guarantee that they can make a comeback. So I feel like this concept has to be executed very carefully. There's sort of always an opportunity for you to just elevate your play and just take over a game and start. We know that players are going to have a lot of fun with Fangs.
Fangs is a competitive battleground that will test you in many ways. We know the mechanical gods out there.
Okay, so I know I'm pausing a lot, but the fact that they're stating that this is a competitive game already, it also makes me feel kind of uneasy. So this is completely off topic, but, well, it's kind of on topic, but not really. When Overwatch released, it was a very fun game. But once they started pushing out Overwatch League and pushing out esports, it became less about the game itself and more about how can we make a lot of money off of this esports scene, and how can we make this a more established esport, instead of how can we make the game fun and how can we polish it up. So I really hope that Fangs doesn't go too far ahead into the esports realm, and they focus on making the game polished and fun first before they actually start pushing out the esports side of things.
We'll be hitting every skill shot, dodging every single thing coming at them with exquisite movement. We want the brainiacs of the world to have something to geek out on too. The augment system gives you a way to get an edge with your head, not just your hands. Just as importantly though, you can express who you are through your choices with the augment system. Do you like playing Kiona but feel like you could use a little more support for your teammates that just keep dying? Swap over to the shielding build and make sure they're resilient to damage just as much as you are. Or maybe you're an Ethrin main and a troll or a psychopath. Take your spacebar augment that increases the range of the spell by 1000%. Bring an enemy that's in the middle of the fight and carry them off to the edge of the map where you can smash them into the wall and pound them with your gigantic shield. As part of having a well-balanced game, choices should be viable. No hero should ever be bad enough that you couldn't want to play it. And no hero should ever be dominant that you have to play it every game.
Ooh, okay. This is basically an ideal state of a MOBA, of having every character be viable and no player should be forced to choose a character because they're in the meta, but I don't know what to say about this. All I can say is I don't even think this is truly ever possible, because it's basically asking for a level of perfection. Now, you can get very close to this depending on how you balance the game, but getting to that exact point with a live service game that's ever changing, I'm not too confident about this statement, but I understand what they're trying to do for the players, and I actually like the sentiment.
Expect us to balance the heroes and augments in Fangs regularly, and we'll do it to ensure that there's a healthy, vibrant ecosystem where the metagame is flexible, changes, and has variety.
For our heroes, I think we are looking to make sure that everyone really finds a home in Fangs. Someone that they can really connect to or vibe with or really just have fun with. Our roster is looking really robust.
Just pausing this, the art style kind of reminds me of Valorant. Does anyone else kind of get that vibe, or is it just me? But it feels a little bit like Valorant. But it's not a bad art style, though.
With lots of different types of heroes. We're going to have monsters, cool humans.
From an artistic standpoint, we want to make heroes that have both high appeal and variety. The gold standard is that immediately somebody would stop and look at it. Like, they'd see it and be like, oh shit, like, what's that? Like, what's that hero? Like, I want to know more about it.
I think players are going to be really drawn to Zoe and Boo. Zoe is the cutest with little ears and tail, and Boo is her little cat companion. The two of them sustain others through the game. If you're a support main, you're going to love Zoe and Boo.
For me, like, I like a lot of the weirder characters in games. Like, I like seeing a lot more of the stranger looking, odder kind of characters. Like, that's what I gravitate towards. And
just real quick, I think that just like a fighting game, characters in a MOBA can really up your interest within the game outside of the game. Okay, it sounds a little bit confusing, but hear me out here. So, something like Mortal Kombat, right? It's a fighting game. What makes it so iconic? Is it the music? The music is nice in Mortal Kombat. Is it the stages? There are some stages that are pretty iconic, but I think the thing that really differentiates Mortal Kombat from other fighting games is the characters. Sub-Zero, Scorpion. I'm not gonna lie to you, that's all I know. But regardless, it's the characters that really make up the fighting game, whether they're casual or competitive. It's a factor that'll determine whether or not they'll be interested in a fighting game. And similarly, in MOBAs, the characters can help revitalize interest within your game, right? For example, I'm not playing League of Legends right now. I do not like the game state that it's been in for the past few years now, so I come back every now and then, but what keeps me interested within League is not necessarily the gameplay itself, but the lore of the characters and the look and feel of their aesthetic. When I first played League of Legends, the first character that I really took interest upon was Shen. I saw his splash art, I saw his aesthetic, and I read up on the lore. Everything about Shen at the time was just super cool. And after that, I just went through so many other champions, looking at their splash arts, their skins, and their lore. And it really made me interested in learning more about the universe. And so from Fangs, I'm really hoping that they have that similar type of feel where you don't have to be invested in the gameplay itself. Like, you don't have to be solely invested into the gameplay. You can also be invested into the characters and the lore and the universe.
We also want to make sure that we have characters for players like who enjoy that kind of thing.
We've got lots of cool characters in development, and we are confident that everyone is going to find someone who they can main and love.
So the first map is called Ember Song, and that was a temple of the queendom. Back in their history, they used to worship this phoenix that was associated with the fire fang, but they sort of changed their religion over time, and the temple fell into disuse. However, recently, there's been a lot of magical upheaval in the world of Fangs, and the Phoenix has come back. Stormheart it's more in the sky, it's snowy, it has a different, colder vibe to it. Fangs are these giant crystal mountains that are recently becoming active all over the world of Fangs. You'll be able to see them in Stormheart and Crown Watch. What does this mean for the world of Fangs? You'll have to play the game and find out.
We're excited for you to try Aspect Mode, which is the primary game mode we're shipping for launch. You can play that casually, or you can test your skills in ranked mode. So we know there are different types of players out there. Some might enjoy Friday night, hang out with buddy, brainless fun. We know there are other group of players who really enjoy climbing the rank and testing their skill. No matter what type of player you are, Fangs has something in store for you.
When this game comes out to early access, I really want to try out, I don't even think ranked mode will even be out, but I definitely want to try just the standard casual mode and just testing to see if the game is like for me and whether or not the game is fun. Because before I play a competitive game and I really dig deep into one, I first want to gauge whether or not it's fun at all. Because why would I want to dive into a competitive game if I'm not even feeling any type of way about it?
Hey guys, this is Bao, Game Director and President here at Hidden Leaf. We're so excited that the team was able to reveal all of our hard work and all the sweat and tears put into the game over the past few years. We're so excited for players to be able to breathe life into this new competitive game and see what you guys can do to show off your skills. You know, our studio has been on this long journey, this scrappy journey. Many of you have joined us on many alphas, a lot of bugs, a lot of crazy stuff happening, and we're so excited that everything's finally coming together after all these years. Soon, we'll provide you guys more information on what the roadmap looks like for the game. We'll share with you why the game is called Fangs. Spoilers, not about vampires or anything. And finally, we'll actually be able to show you guys more gameplay as the day goes on and kind of tell you how to get into the game yourself. With all that being said, welcome to Fangs, and we'll see you on the battlefield.
Okay, so overall, I thought this was a pretty good video because it gave you multiple bullet points and topics that basically showed you how they wanted to envision their game and how they want to take Fangs in a similar fashion to other MOBAs, but at the same time, they want to differentiate themselves and being able to be something on their own. So it definitely gave a lot of insight into the development team and what they're up to. So overall, I thought this was a very good video. And if they keep on giving us more updates like this and more communication, this basically signifies that they care about the player base and the community by giving a lot of updates and not just being like, okay, here's this video, and now we're gonna ghost you for God knows how long until the game releases. By having this communication back and forth between the players and the developers, it makes me feel reassured, I suppose. But for this video, I did jot down some points that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so I really wanted to talk about the positives of Fangs. So, for one, the art style of the maps are, at least, I don't think they're graphically intensive. I mean, they don't look super like realistic, and there's not a lot of like ray tracing and lighting effects. So I definitely think that it's not graphically intensive at the moment, which makes it way more accessible to lower end PCs, including mine. So by making the game overall not graphically intensive, you get more players that can play the game, so you then get more people to match with, and in turn you get more balanced competition and matchmaking. And also, by not going for a super realistic, graphic heavy art style, it makes it visually age a lot better than if it tried to go for that realistic approach. And within the video, actually, I don't even know if it was in the video. I think it was. I don't remember. But there was more emphasis on being able to win in different ways. So in League of Legends or Dota, there's basically only one objective way to win, and that's basically to destroy the Nexus or the base. But in Fangs, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I believe you can win by either taking out the team captain or getting the objective. And by having more ways to win, it opens up a lot more opportunities and strategies to develop, which, if done correctly, can create varying metas, making the game overall less stale, and the chances of it being stagnant gets reduced. And another thing that I actually really like about Fangs, or at least the ideology, is that they want to appeal to multiple types of players, whether you're a very executional heavy type of player or you're very strategical. But I really want to dive more into how they're gonna appeal more to the strategic players. I know that one of the ways that they mentioned in the video is the augment system, but I hope there's more to that. Well, it's the augment system and the fact that there's more than one way to win in a match, which also adds to obviously more strategies, but I'm hoping there's a little bit more for the strategic players, but we'll see. Maybe they'll give out more information when the early access arrives. So now that we kind of talked about the positives of the game, I also want to talk about my concerns. So I've already said this earlier, but everything being a skill shot is kind of iffy to me. It makes the game take more skill since you have to land your skill shots, but at the same time, like I said before, it does raise the barrier of entry, well, more like skill floor. I've played League of Legends, I've played Battle.Right, especially Battle.Right, so I'm used to having most of your skills being a skill shot. But for those who haven't played Battle.Right or anything similar, it's gonna be tough to get into the game straight away. Like, they have to be kind of committed. And that commitment can vary from player to player. So some players might think, hey, I think this game is just way too hard, and in 10 minutes, boom, uninstall. So it's a tough sell in a way, because you want to exemplify that Fangs is a competitive game, but I feel like if you lean too far forward for the competitive players, you'll start to neglect the casual players. So there has to be a fine balance. Another thing that I'm concerned about is burnout. So I think the game that's most similar to Fangs at the moment is Battle.Right, which is basically a MOBA, a traditional MOBA, but you strip out the towers and the base, and you basically just have the team fights. That's basically Battle.Right in a nutshell. And within Battle.Right, I often find myself taking longer breaks from the game than I do in, let's say, League of Legends, because the game is solely focused on the team fight aspects with nothing to alleviate the sort of high tension gameplay. There weren't any mobs or creeps to farm, you didn't buy items which made you feel like you were making progress within the game outside of getting kills. In Battlerite, it was solely your build that you selected before the match, and you just play it out, and that's pretty much it. If Fangs' design goals is to make the game revolve around the fun team fight aspects, it makes me cautious into how they're going to alleviate the potential burnout of players. The reason why I can play so many games of League, even though the games are longer, is because they have this farming period before a lot of the team fights happen, and with Fangs having no direct economy, it can reduce the amount of snowball that an enemy team can have, which also reduces the amount of toxicity and stress if more games are winnable. But at the same time, if you're on the winning team, how can you feel good about your lead if you know there is always a chance for the opposing team to potentially reverse sweep you and rob you of the game, in a sense? So again, there has to be a fine balance of this game is still winnable and we have a lead that is not insignificant or feels insignificant because of the potential of the enemy team and the overall nature of the game being more winnable. Another thing that Another thing that I'm definitely concerned about, and you know this, I know this, I think most people know this, League of Legends is not necessarily the most wholesome community in a sense. And where I'm getting at with this topic is, I want to know how will Fangs deal with toxicity, AFKers, and win traders? Basically, what is the moderation tool that they are going to utilize within Fangs? In League of Legends, at the higher levels, there are basically win traders plaguing the game, but in all other ELOs and game modes, there are toxic players and AFKers, like those two apply below. Now, I understand that you can't moderate every player. Like, if you try to moderate every League of Legends player, that's just, you will not have the resources. It's gonna be way too costly and it's just not possible. But just because it's not possible doesn't mean you can't reduce these negative aspects of a traditional MOBA, right? So, ideally, the idea that I have in mind, I guess, or I would like to just talk about, is the fact that I would like to have the ability for players to be able to have player moderation or community moderation. So, for example, in CSGO, there's a moderation tool called Overwatch, where you can watch player submitted replays and have higher level players or trusted players within the community to either forward this replay or case for a punishment because it's confirmed that they did something, either they're hacking or toxicity or trolling, or you can deny the accusation and turn down the submission because maybe someone just reported this player because they were salty or they had a bad day. So ideally, I hope that Fangs has an idea of how they want to moderate the player base in the works, and I hope that it's not gonna turn into League of Legends 2.0. My last concern for Fangs is that I don't even know if they can really do anything about this, but I'll say it anyways because I already said it a few minutes ago. In a perfect world, MOBAs would achieve perfect balance, meaning all characters are viable, the meta is ever changing, and that you're not restricted to playing meta characters, and you can just play whatever character you want. You can use whatever strategy you want. It's very open. It's very free form. But that's not the world we live in, sadly. Some players will find a unique and weird build that will achieve great success, and in turn, cause a trend that is either healthy for the game, or it can drive others away from it. Now, I'm not saying that I fully doubt the Fangs development team, since they do have Ginsu, but I will say that when the game fully comes out, I'm just gonna observe the balance patches, and that'll tell the full story. But before I go, I did want to check out the website of Fangs with you guys, and I just wanted to I don't know, I just wanted to look at it. That's all I got. I don't really have a particular reason, other than I'm interested in the game. So it says that you can join the playtest, so obviously I'm gonna sign up after I upload the video, but if you want to also join the playtest, I'm gonna put a link in the description below for their website. I'm not sponsored, by the way. I just want to put that out there. I'm not sponsored. I'm literally just interested in the game, which is why I'm making this whole video. Because it's been a long time since I've been interested in a competitive game. Because right now, I'm kind of burnt out on fighting games at the moment, and there's not really another competitive game that I'm super interested in or hyped for. So having Fangs join the competition against Dota and League of Legends, it's gonna be extremely tough. It's a very uphill battle that they're gonna have to do. Like, they are going to have to do a lot of things to compete with those two giants. But it's not impossible though, and that's the thing. It's not a 0% chance. It's not a 0%. Okay. So let's look at this website here. Claim Your Destiny. Fangs is a 4v4 action MOBA that focuses on fast-paced team battles. Explore a variety of heroes and equip them with near limitless combinations of augments to customize your abilities. Adapt your hero. So you like being the pyromaniac and blowing things up, but the team needs a healer? No problem, equip your augments and make your explosions now heal your teammates. There's 2 paths to victory. Earn the favor of the aspect. I'm guessing this is the objective, like the Baron Nasher in League, so something similar, I'm guessing. A mythical beast that guards the map, or hunt down the opposing team's captains to secure the outcome of the match. Interesting, okay. Team up with friends. Level up friendships with your allies, old and new. The more you play together, the greater your combined might. Share your augments, evolve your strategies, find your community. So I think the thing that interests me the most is the 2 paths to victory here, and how this can differ, how this can create varying strategies within the game. FAQ, when can I play Fangs? We're not quite ready to share a release date at this time, but we will announce dates via our Discord, social media, and website when we're ready. You can secure your spot for the closed alpha by signing up on our website and joining our Discord server. Can I join a playtest for Fangs? Playtests are currently paused, so the team can focus on bringing Fangs to the next level. Sign up to our mailing list to secure your spot for future events and join the Discord server for the latest updates. And then here's their Discord. And I believe on Twitter they said that early access, yeah. They're happy to announce that Fangs will be going into early access on November 30th. So there you go. We do have a date for early access if you are interested in the game as well. And that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to really discuss and talk about. Overall, I'm pretty excited for Fangs. Like I said though, I gotta try out the game myself and see, first and foremost, not whether or not it's competitive, I don't care as much. The one thing that I do care about is the game fun? And can this game provide me with limitless amount of replayability and content? That's where I'm gauging it. So that's it. This outro is just so bad. It's just so awkward, but we're gonna roll with it anyways. Thank you everyone so much for watching this video. I hope everyone here has a great day, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at. And until next time. Bye.